What is the difference between a shitpost and a masterpiece? And do they even have to be separate things? I have discovered the shitpost so potent, it would fry your average normie's brain in an instant, and it's a sight to behold. It's a peculiar video game series hailing from the sunny Brazil, a country that is not for beginners. I wouldn't have expected for one of my GOTYs of 2025 to come from Brazil, since it's mostly known for other things rather than video games. But when a Brazilian locks in, hold on to your pants. I present you Brazilian Drug Dealer. Brazilian Drug Dealer 3 took the Steam store by storm on September 17th, 2025. It's a deep-fried, fast-paced boomer shooter that has plenty of ways to stand out from the competition. The cultural references, the crazy weapons, the deafening soundtrack, all of these things are here to make any Brazilian player very happy and leave anyone else scratching their heads. I've been lucky enough to have been immersed in an equally as mad Eastern European world and received a drip feed of Brazilian content throughout the last several years that I managed to survive Brazilian Drug Dealer 3. And even then, just barely. It's a lethal experience, but still an experience worth witnessing, even if that's the last thing you do. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Brazilian Drug Dealer 3? Where's Brazilian Drug Dealer 1 and 2? I initially thought that 3 was the only game in the series because it's the only game on Steam, and it's called 3 just for the memes. That honestly wouldn't even be surprising, but if you navigate to the game's directory, you can find a bunch of text files with the developer's commentary, and links to the first two games which are on itch.io, so let's start from the beginning.
Aviãozinho do Tráfico 1, Despacito 5, Quem Ler é Arrombado 2.
Or Brazilian Drug Dealer 1, Despacito 5, Who Reads It is a Wanker 2. Sure looks like some humble beginnings. The instructions left by the developer: open the fucking exe. Boy, I sure hope there's no crypto miner in there with how sussy it looks. The images displayed on a 4K monitor look incomprehensibly tiny. This game was meant for your typical Brazilian rig, not a European one. The game itself is a weird Sonic ripoff, with deafeningly loud music. I can't say it plays well whatsoever. It's way too zoomed in for the speeds you're supposed to move in. The jump button is bound to shift wall keys just out of spite so it would activate sticky keys. You run around the streets and stomp on some random dudes holding guns. It might not be a great game, but it both looks and sounds unmistakably Brazilian. The game itself is a little... well, a little is an understatement, but it's a little baffling. The developer's commentary explains some things, however. The main character is called Lavena. The action takes place in Rio de Janeiro's favelas, and favelas are essentially the specific type of slums. There are things that I would have never known from the game itself. For example, these drug dealer guys are from a meme, the ramps are styled from the old Oi payphones, and the final boss is something called Ronaldo's Smile. The whole thing is just one fairly short level, and it's never been commercially released due to its use of various copyrighted assets.
Aviãozinho do Tráfico 2, 3D, resenha de pasta base com sorriso Ronaldo.
Or Brazilian Drug Dealer 2, 3D hangout on cocaine base paste with Sorriso Ronaldo. Takes a turn to a completely different genre. This time it's a Wolfenstein-style FPS, made using Raycaster Game Maker. The game would just refuse to launch on my PC, so I had a certified full-time Brazilian stream it to me over Discord. You can join my Discord server, by the way, the link is in the description. The menu items in this game are just the most random bullshit possible, and every button would confuse even Portuguese speakers regarding their purpose.
So, baile is how people call the funk parties in the favelas. Dar o teco is slang for to use some cocaine. You give it a sniff. And nível de cheirado is how much cocaine you use. Like, how high are you? And pray, give me your pussy. give me your pussy just won't work, any of the options. Suck my dick. Fuck. Porra is like cum, but yeah.
The game itself is as crusty as it gets. The level design is like a Brazilian version of The Truman Show, with favelas buildings being the wall textures, and the ceiling being just poorly painted sky. It's obvious it's still indoors due to how dark it is. There's the OI payphones again. The sprites are not even transparent PNGs but crusty ass JPEGs. It's very chaotic.
Yeah, this is the Flamengo thing. Fuck, mascot. What the fuck is this? Lolo is also a drug? Yeah, ether and chloroform.
And the game ends just as abruptly and ridiculously as it starts.
Os cuzão que... This is pretty much untranslatable. Tesão is horniness. Grana pro J is like money for the short loan. Like the motherfucker who lent you money and break your kneecaps after. The assholes that you shot, that you blasted. Congratulations, you've beat the game, now suck my dick, fuck.
While these two don't look like much, they've been vital stepping stones in the game development learning process. They were just small slices of things you could expect in the magnum opus of the series. The first established the setting of Rio's favelas and introduced plenty of little Brazilian references. The second game made the move to the shooter genre, but all hell would break loose when all those things would move to and expand in Brazilian Drug Dealer 3. I opened a portal to hell in the favela trying to revive Mid-Aya. I need to close it. Where do I even start with this one? First of all, it's the most entertaining shooter of 2025. It's made on the Quake engine, so naturally it's very fast-paced and the Brazilian audiovisual crust brings the chaos to extreme levels. Like a lot of boomer shooters, it has fun moment-to-moment gameplay, but it's hard to tell anything about the actual plot just from the game. Things just sort of happen. To my surprise, the game also has a functioning multiplayer mode, so I went through the whole thing with a Brazilian guide, hyping be damned, and found that multiplayer is essentially easy mode for the campaign, because you can infinitely respawn like in deathmatch area. There is a lot more info about what's going on in the game's wiki, which is written by the game's developer himself. I only found the wiki after playing the game. I guess let's go through the game level by level. I have our first reactions to all the shenanigans, but I'll also try to explain what's actually going on in the game, so we can get fully immersed in the Brazilian meme culture. First, I have to explain what even happens before the game and who this Mid-Aya is. Mid-Aya is based on the legendary Brazilian singer Tim Maia, who was popular in the 70s. The developer of the game is a fan of his. And so is the main character, Aviozinho do Trafico da Silva. Mid-Aya died in 1997, so da Silva started studying occultism in order to enjoy Mid-Aya's music live again. He drew a pentagram on his floor, but then all hell broke loose. Quite literally. And all the fans of the Fla Flamenco football team started going berserk. Fla Flamenco is the copyright-safe version of the real-world Flamengo team. This is where level 1 starts. You go out of your house in the favelas and you immediately start with some unique guns. The pistol is 3012, a rusty bootleg Brazilian shotgun. It exists in real life. You get a flip-flop as a joke melee weapon, the mom's weapon of choice. You can also find double golden shotguns, because Brazilian gangsters love golden guns. And double golden pistols, which act as a nail gun and have little Brazil flags on them. There's a dog. The basic enemies you encounter are traficantes, drug dealers in football jerseys. There's an occasional brick ogre, which is just a Lego dude. There are also these clown-looking dudes that I thought are based on Ronald McDonald, but they're actually based on a Brazilian character called Fofao. There are Torcedor, which are the melee enemies in football jerseys. Overall, the game works pretty much like any boomer shooter. You just go around, shoot a bunch of dudes, look for keys to open doors and also for the occasional secret. In the second map, Da Silva goes to a bar called Mafia Secreta Dois Irmãos, which is a gag on the two brothers name that is used in a lot of stores in Brazil. This one is not listed in the wiki, but there's a weapon that's just a bottle of Dolly soda. That was trippy. It shoots Brazil flags. I like that this game sounds the same way as it looks. A new type of enemy is Caramello Dog, which is a cute pupper, but sadly possessed too. I guess dogs like football too in Brazil. So far, is this accurate Brazil experience?
In Rio de Janeiro, yes. If you go up a favela, that's exactly what will happen. Fuck, I died.
But there's an inverted cross with Brazil flag. There is also a possessed capybara who looks nasty, but makes a sadly cute sound upon death.
Map 3, the Maracana Stadium.
The new weapon is a golden rocket launcher so floppy, it's actually a grenade launcher. Erectile dysfunction. The layout of this level is a little confusing, but there's a fluff flamenco demon at the end.
Map 4, Careza.
In this level, we had to ride a clown car, and the floor looked like literal lava. I encountered a new gun that left me confused. Some of the weapons are missing from the wiki, so I have no explanation for what it is. It looks like it's made out of Russian porcelain, and shoots Brazil flags. I found out later that it's apparently some toy gun that shoots gel balls in reality.
Map 5, Salga.
Now it's oddly silent.
Are we going to...
Oh
my god!
Okay, that's why it was silent. This is a showcase of Brazilian funk parties. At the turntable we have Sex Corp and Jalma Joe, which is the game dev's other pseudonym. I believe both of them are responsible for the game's super intense soundtrack. The legendary Oi payphone makes a return as a weapon. I guess this time it's rebranded as Ciao payphone for copyright reasons. It took me a while to even comprehend it was a payphone, honestly. It shoots rows of green coconuts with explosives inside, because of course it does.
Map 6, Chavinia 19.
Apparently this map is inspired by a sitcom called El Chavo del Ocho. Naturally, I was out of my depth here and had no clue what was going on without reading the wiki. Turns out we meet El Chavo at the entrance, who for copyright reasons is renamed to KS, and he's supposed to tell that his friend, Don Ramon, renamed to Mr. Morning instead of Mr. Midnight, has been captured. Mr. Morning also has a dog face. I guess he's a pathologic doghead now. We have some new enemies here. There's Loro Josias, a bird that spits lava. The floor is lava, by the way. Apparently it's inspired by Loro José from the TV show Mais Você. The other enemy is a ghost in the shape of a cape wielding a sword. It's a gag of Team Vasco that always comes second in the league of the country.
Map 7.
It's like a shopping district.
Wildest. Rio de Janeiro.
I personally like dunking on McDonald's by intentionally mispronouncing the name, but there's an entire piece of lore for this thing. Ronaldo McDowellist, a spoof of Ronald McDonald, is one of the villains here that secretly sells dog meat in the burgers. The main demon is one of McDowellist's biggest investors. So during the invasion, McDowellist became the only fast food chain as the proprietaries and employees of all the other ones got possessed. There's B-movie.
Cumprir normas. Mas em vez disso, elas decidiram seguir seus próprios destinos. Que duro, longo e difícil caminho para descobrir o que realmente querem ser. Abelhinhas.
What? Oh my god! In Brazil we have like those street vendors, they sell a bunch of bootleg shit.
I want that. That's like my one goal on coffee. The website for donations, like if I reach 666 euros, I'm gonna get Brazilian bootlegs. You'd have to help me with that.
Map 8, Praca 16.
More Flores lava stuff. We get a weapon that's paper airplanes folded from money bills, in reference to the Brazilian presenter Silvio Santos. After some confusion, we get to the BCT TV channel studio, which is a spoof of the SBT TV channel. There are many references to local TV shows, but all of them went over my head.
Fuck. BCT in Brazil, it's like an abbreviation for pussy.
Okay.
Yeah.
You might notice me using a gun that's a golden cobra that shoots lightning. It's called Fab Snake, and it's inspired by the Brazilian World War II Air Force symbol, Snake Will Smoke. An electric snake with a cigarette in its mouth. If you pay close attention, you can hear it saying Brazil when it shoots.
Map 9, Chuparaba.
The name of the place is a gag of the supermarket Guanabara, with the new name meaning suck ass. What really sucked ass was the soundtrack in this level. Oh boy, what is this song?
Beats me.
This song is driving me insane. It's like fucking chipmunks. The maddening chipmunk breakcore didn't leave me without entertainment, however. What is that? Soccer ball and like... it's fucking flat. Look at it.
I think it does damage. Try shooting at me. No, it does. Futebol! Go! Go! No, I don't think you can.
Map 10, Surf Amazonia.
Ronaldo McDallas has sabotaged the portal, so now we're in the Amazon forest. That's also a surf map. I got stuck, died, and respawned in some flea market.
Map 11, Zagaroto.
This map is a very vertical hellscape. It's a homage to the TV channel Globo, with a bunch of references to the programs from the channel.
Gatonet is like,
Gatonet.
yeah, it's like cable TV, but, you know, pirated, those pirated things that capture the signal, you know? They literally steal the fucking signal.
Nice. Good cat. The end of the map had some tentacle mouth monster that's not listed in the wiki.
Map 12,
Fairly uneventful.
Map 13, Niterói.
This place had lower gravity for bigger jumps. By the end of this map we get into an alien spaceship. Get in the ship, bro. That's a ship that looks just like a letter A.
Map 14,
We're straight up on the moon now. It's got some very weird bouncy surfaces. Kitty pics on the walls.
Map 15,
It looks like a distorted skate park. But I don't think this is a fishing rod, but then I don't know what I'm looking at.
It's a betting ball, Brazilian instrument. He does like down, down, tska, down, down. Nah.
Bauchika wow wow.
No, it's not Bauchko, it's down, down, tska, down, down.
Bauchika wow wow, but with an accent.
Map 16,
Lots of crashed vehicles here. We've got enemies that are not in the wiki, but they're pretty much Brazilian anti-piracy mascots. I don't have much to say about maps 17 and 18. I'm not even sure if I'm counting correctly anymore. By this point, the constant barrage of memes and unrelentingly loud music has turned my brain into mush. On top of that, the wiki is missing some of the levels and their names. That's why some of them are missing or might be wrong in this video too. Sorry. Brazil is a hell of a drug.
Map 19, Virginia.
The alien ship has crashed. According to the wiki, in this level the player needs to save the aliens who have been living in Brazil since 1996. Would you just say this game is patriotic for Brazil?
Yes, I would, because there's a lot of like small and like little references about our culture. I really liked it. It has a lot of detail to it, like the houses. Like he modeled some of the tables, which like look a lot of like the tables we use here. There's a lot of passion, not passion, but no, he put his heart into this project, I'd say. So yeah, I would call this a patriotic game. And he is not using like an racist undertone to like describe the people who lives in the favelas, you know what I mean? It's weird that we're going up there and killing everybody, but it's fun and geese and stuff. It seems like a joke more than something serious.
Map 20. Cristo Pau de Acucar.
The level is a terraformation of the Pau de Acucar, or Sugarloaf Mountain in English. The goal of this level is to get to the famous Christ the Redeemer statue. Unfortunately, I did not even recognize it, because in the game it looks like a Roblox character.
Jesus Christ looks like me.
It's also wearing a giant fluff flamenco jersey.
Map 21. Cristo Pau de Acucar 2.
I didn't gather it on my own, but apparently this statue gave us Jesus powers, and now we're giants. We've got a new enemy to fight, Possessed Edinho, who is Mitai's nephew. He's been turned into a giant and split into 5 bodies, but only one of them is the correct one that needs to be taken down to free Edinho from the position.
Map 22. Edinho.
This one is just for flavor, as it just has one room and no enemies. I didn't understand the purpose of it while playing the game, so the wiki was quite helpful. It's Mitai's nephew Edinho, turned back to a human sitting in his house among his large collection of vinyl records. All he does is just point the player in the direction they need to go.
Map 23. Copa Loco.
Location: Copacabana Palace, Copacabana Beach, Rio de Janeiro. This level is insane. First of all, there's another band aside from Mitai that Da Silva has been a fan of that got revived and are putting on a concert, Mamonas Assassinas, or as they're called in the game, Mamadas Assassinas. And Peter, do not Google images of what Mamadas means, worst mistake of my life. A concert means a big crowd, a crowd of almost 300 demons to be exact, and they all attack at once. Good luck! Fortune smiled on me for once, since multiplayer is kind of an easy mode. If you die, you just respawn like in a deathmatch, without losing progress, and can just keep going at it. In single player, you actually need to survive this. There are more enemies than I have bullets at this point.
Map 24. Sambodromo.
We go to Sambodromo during a Mitai-themed carnival, and we need to get the hell out. The music is pretty much just brown noise at this point.
Map 25. Metro Rio.
Just Rio's Metro, inspired by a Max Payne subway level. Here we encountered an enemy we just could not defeat, Torcedor Cherador Pedal Robin. It's a melee enemy that doesn't pose much threat, but it's so high on cocaine, it's invulnerable to most attacks. According to Wiki, these can only be killed using rocket and grenade launchers, and we were all out of those.
Map 26. Amania.
The Tomorrow Museum. This is the place where demons have built their biggest portal. Michael Jackson is here to support Da Silva. He's renamed to Mackie Jackie here.
Map 27. Final Stage.
This is where you fight the boss of all the demons by pressing 3 buttons in a sequence 3 times and shooting him some. The description of this demon actually helps make sense of the game's plot. It's the Vasco demon, fan of the Vasco football team. Vasco historically always comes second behind Flamengo. Vasco demon was losing a lot of money betting on Vasco team and used Mitai's revival ritual as an opportunity to ruin the reputation of Flamengo team by possessing every single fan of Flamengo and turning them into terrible people, as well as dressing Hell's demons in Flamengo jerseys. On top of that, Vasco demon is recuperating his lost money by making a partnership with Wildest, making them a monopoly selling dog meat as fast food, and all their competition dying out as we established earlier. So overall, a being of pure evil and hatred that needs to be stopped. Once Vasco demon is dead, Mid-Aya is saved and a portal back to Earth opens up. The reward for all this? A bonus level. Epilogue on Heaven Coliseum. It was not enough to kill demons and possess flamenco fans in Earth and Hell. It's got to be done in Heaven too. Overall, Brazilian Drug Dealer 3 was a pretty short game, but an extremely memorable experience, and my favorite shooter of 2025. It was the only shooter I played from 2025 though, but none other even managed to get me interested. To be completely honest, I think I enjoyed Brazilian Drug Dealer 3 more than the original Quake. I'm generally not a huge fan of boomer shooters, as I generally prefer more story-focused than mechanical games. But Brazilian Drug Dealer 3 constantly kept me on the edge of my seat, being curious to see what's going to be the next crazy thing in the game. I've played quite a few shitpost games before, and more often than not they're just almost unplayable jokes or cheap Unity or Unreal Engine asset flips. But Brazilian Drug Dealer 3 has got soul to it. The gameplay is fairly basic, but it's entertaining enough. Yet it's the cultural value that makes the game stand out. For me as a gringo, a lot of things went over my head, but even I could undoubtedly tell that there's a lot of thought and detail put into the game, taking from meme, pop, and overall Brazilian culture. The presentation of the game seals the deal. The visuals are crusty and saturated like a deep-fried meme. There's plenty of the good old Comic Sans font, and the soundtrack is like the most authentic Brazilian nightclub soundscape while overdosing on cocaine. Chef's kiss. The whole series makes me sort of wish that every country had a good quality equivalent of this, because the locals can point fingers and laugh at the galore of the culture references, and for foreigners, it's a piece of contemporary cultural exchange that wouldn't be possible through any regular art or tour guides. And as I speak, the game is still being updated. Since I played it, Brazilian Drug Dealer 3 has already received some new levels and a Steam multiplayer integration for better convenience. On top of it, Brazilian Drug Dealer 4 has been announced as a standalone expansion that's also a sequel, and you can bet it went straight to my wishlist. The saga isn't over yet, and I'm curious what else it can offer. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Consider supporting my channel by donating to my Ko-fi page. Maybe eventually I'll reach my goal to get authentic Brazilian bootleg games. And I'll see you in another video.